All right, settle down, settle down. Welcome to the show, everybody. Now, usually I'm up here asking you what the survey says, but today we ain't playing a game. We're going to have a real talk, a serious talk. We're talking about something called Weird Winter 2025. I don't know what makes it so weird, but the experts are saying we need to be ready. And I'm not just talking about having enough eggnog. I'm talking about being truly prepared, especially for my seasoned folks out there, my 55 and over crew. Y'all have the wisdom, the experience, but we got to make sure you have the supplies to match. You see, when you've been around the block a few times like we have, you learn that you can't play around with Mother Nature. She does what she wants to do. And when the power goes out and the snow is piled up higher than my mustache, you can't just run to the store. It ain't happening. Preparation is not just a good idea, it's an act of love for yourself and for your family. It's about maintaining your independence and your dignity no matter what's happening outside your window. It's about being the rock, not the one who needs rescuing. So today I'm going to break down the 12 survival items that every senior, every person over 55 absolutely needs to have stockpiled. We're going beyond the obvious stuff. Some of these things on this list, you're going to look at me and go, "Steve, for real?" And I'm going to look right back and say, "For real," because the survey says being prepared is the #1 answer to staying safe. So grab a notepad, lean in close, and listen to your Uncle Steve. Let's get you ready. All right, let's get right to it. The #1 thing on our list, the top answer on the board, it's something so simple, we take it for granted every single day. I'm talking about water, bottled water. Now, you might be thinking, "Steve, I got a faucet. The water comes out just fine." And you're right, it does, until it don't. A bad winter storm can freeze pipes, knock out a city's water treatment plant, you name it. Suddenly that faucet is just a decoration on your sink. And you're left high and dry, literally. You got to understand, for us seasoned folks, hydration is not a suggestion, it's a command, it's crucial. Dehydration can sneak up on you and cause all kinds of problems, from confusion to serious health complications. It affects how your medication works, how your body regulates temperature, everything. You can't afford to play games with that. You need to have a supply of clean, drinkable water that is all yours, that nobody can turn off. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So what's the plan? The experts say you need 1 gallon of water per person per day. I say let's aim a little higher. Get a 2-week supply if you can. Go to the store and buy those big cases of bottled water. Find a cool, dark place to store them, like a closet or under a bed. Don't put them in the garage where they can freeze. This ain't about just having a drink. It's about having what you need to cook, to clean, and most importantly, to live. Don't wait until the weatherman is screaming about the storm of the century. By then, the shelves will be empty. You'll see people fighting over the last 6-pack of water like it's the last ticket to a Luther Vandross concert. Don't be that person. Be the smart one, the prepared one. Go get your water now. Put it away and have the peace of mind that no matter what happens with the pipes, you're going to be all right. That's step 1. Simple, but it's the foundation for everything else. Now listen to me. This next one, this one is not a suggestion. This is non-negotiable. If you are on any kind of regular medication, this is the most important thing on the list for you. #3 is your prescription medications. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot afford to run out of the medicine that keeps you healthy. The medicine that keeps your blood pressure right, your heart ticking strong, your sugar levels balanced. That is your lifeline right there in that little bottle. Think about it. A big snowstorm hits, the roads are impassable, the pharmacy is closed, the delivery trucks can't get through. What are you going to do? You can't just wait it out for 3, 4, maybe 5 days. For some folks, missing even 1 or 2 doses can have serious, and I mean life-threatening consequences. You can't put your life in the hands of the weather report. You have to take control of that situation yourself. So here's what you need to do. You need to talk to your doctor and your pharmacist, explain the situation. Tell them you're building an emergency kit and you need to have an extra supply of your essential medications. Don't just try to ration what you have. That's a fool's game. Most doctors understand the importance of this and will help you get an extra 30-day supply, or whatever is appropriate for your emergency stash. Insurance can sometimes be tricky, but you have to be your own advocate. Explain that it's for emergency preparedness. Once you have that extra supply, you got to treat it right. Keep it with your other emergency supplies in a place that's cool and dry. Don't just throw it in a drawer and forget about it. You need to manage it. Every few months you rotate your stock. You take the medicine from your emergency kit and use it, and then you replace it with your new prescription. That way, nothing ever expires. This takes a little bit of discipline, but your life is worth it. Don't play with this. This is your health. Protect it. All right, let's talk about staying warm. When that weird winter hits and the power goes out, your furnace is just a big metal box in the basement. The temperature inside your house is going to start dropping, and it's going to drop fast. For seniors, staying warm isn't just about comfort, it's a serious health issue. Hypothermia is a real danger, and it can happen right inside your own home. So, item number 4 is all about layers of love, warm blankets and thermal clothing. I'm not just talking about that little throw blanket you keep on the couch. No. We got to get serious. I'm talking about heavy-duty blankets, wool blankets, fleece blankets, down comforters. Go to the store, feel the material. You want thick, you want heavy. And don't just get one. Have a stockpile, several for each person in the house. And it's not just about what you cover up with. It's about what you're wearing underneath. This is where thermal clothing comes in. That long underwear your granddaddy used to wear. Granddaddy was a genius. Those thermal layers are your first line of defense. They wick moisture away and trap warm air next to your body. Get a few sets of thermal tops and bottoms, thick wool socks, a warm hat or beanie, gloves or mittens, a good warm robe. The strategy is layers. Layer your clothes, then layer your blankets. If the power is out, close off rooms you're not using. Hang blankets over doorways. Create one small warm space in the house. You and your loved ones huddle in there together, wrapped up like burritos. It's not glamorous, but it will keep you safe and warm. When the power goes out, the first thing you notice after the silence is the dark. And let me tell you, the dark ain't your friend in an emergency. The dark is where you trip over the rug. The dark is where you can't find the first aid kit. The dark is where you feel isolated and scared. So item number 5 on our list is about banishing the dark. We're talking about flashlights and batteries, and I mean lots of them. All right, now we've got to talk about something that makes people a little squeamish, but it's critically important. In a bad winter storm, you might not be able to get to a doctor or an urgent care clinic. A slip on an icy porch, a small cut while opening a can. Little things can become big problems if you can't treat them. That's why item number 6 is a well-stocked first aid kit. You need to be your own first responder for the minor stuff. I'm not talking about that little plastic box with 3 cartoon Band-Aids and a dried-up alcohol wipe that's been in your bathroom since 1992. No, sir. I'm talking about a serious, comprehensive kit. You can buy a good pre-made one, and that's a great start, but the best kits are the ones you customize for your own needs. Adhesive bandages in all shapes and sizes, sterile gauze pads, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, antibiotic ointment. But we got to go deeper than that. For my seasoned crowd, think about what you specifically might need. Do you have sensitive skin? Get some hypoallergenic tape. Do you take a blood thinner? You're going to want to have supplies to stop bleeding like hemostatic gauze. You need to have pain relievers like acetaminophen or ibuprofen, antacids for stomach upset, hydrocortisone cream for rashes, allergy medication like Benadryl. Think of it as your own personal miniature pharmacy. And don't forget the tools. A good kit needs a pair of tweezers to get out splinters, a pair of small, sharp scissors for cutting tape or gauze. You should also have disposable gloves to keep things sterile. Once you have your kit assembled, put a list of all your medications, your doctor's phone number, and any major health conditions right inside the lid. Keep it somewhere you can get to it easily, even in the dark. Being able to calmly and cleanly take care of a small injury will give you a sense of control and security that is absolutely priceless. In this day and age, our connection to the outside world, to our family, to emergency services, it's all in this little rectangle we carry around in our pockets, our cell phone. But when the power goes out, that phone becomes a ticking clock. Every percentage point of battery that drops away is one less chance to call for help, one less update you can get, one less I love you can say to your kids. So item number 7 is all about keeping that lifeline alive. A portable phone charger, also known as a power bank. You cannot rely on the plug in the wall. When the electricity is gone, it's gone. And sitting in your car to charge your phone is not always a safe or practical option, especially in a blizzard. You need a source of power that is inside your house, ready to go. A power bank is basically a big battery that you charge up ahead of time. Then you use it to charge your phone, your tablet, or any other USB-powered device when the grid is down. Now they come in all shapes and sizes. Don't get one of those little lipstick-sized ones that'll give you maybe a 20% boost. That ain't gonna cut it. You need to invest in a good one, a high-capacity power bank. Look for one that's at least 10,000 milliamp hours or even 20,000 milliamp hours. That's enough to charge your smartphone multiple times over. It might cost you a little bit more, but what's the price of being able to call your son or daughter and tell them you're okay? It's priceless. Once you buy it, you have to maintain it. The worst thing you can do is charge it up, throw it in a drawer, and forget about it for a year. These batteries will slowly lose their charge over time, so here's the routine. Once a month, take it out, use it to charge your phone, then plug it back in and charge the power bank all the way back up to 100%. That way you know it's always topped off and ready for action. Having that power in your pocket is having a direct line to peace of mind. All right, let's paint a picture. You've done everything right. You've got your stockpile of water. You've got your pantry full of delicious canned chili and soup. You're hungry, it's cold, and you're ready to eat. You grab a can, you put it on the counter, you press the button on your fancy electric can opener, and what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, because there's no power. That can of chili might as well be a can of rocks. This brings us to item number 8. Most overlooked, underappreciated, absolutely essential, a good old-fashioned manual can opener. People laugh, but nobody's laughing when they're hungry and can't get into their food. All those fancy electric gadgets are useless without electricity. You need a tool that works with the only power source you're guaranteed to have, your own 2 hands. Don't just get one, get 2 or 3. The classic twist knob kind, military-style P38 openers, P51 openers, tiny indestructible backups on your keychain. Put one in your kitchen drawer. Put another inside your emergency food box. Tape it to the top if you have to. The manual can opener is the key that unlocks your entire food supply. Don't you ever forget that. Okay, let's have another real talk. This is a subject some people might find a little personal, but we're family here, and we have to talk about it. When you're stuck in your house for days on end, and maybe the water isn't running, basic hygiene can become a real challenge. But staying clean is not just about smelling good, it's about health. It's about preventing infections. It's about maintaining your sense of dignity and morale. So item number 9 is your personal hygiene kit. If the water is out, you can't take a shower. You can't even properly wash your hands. Wet wipes become one of the most valuable things you can own. Big bulk packs of wipes, body wipes, hand wipes, they let you give yourself a sponge bath and stay clean. That helps prevent skin irritation and infections. And right along with that, hand sanitizer, a big bottle of sanitizer. Use it after the bathroom. Use it before you eat. Use it anytime you feel the need. Now, something specific to my seniors. If you or your partner rely on adult diapers or incontinence pads, you must have an extra supply. Do not get caught short. Calculate how many you use in a normal week, then double or triple that for emergencies. Running out would be a crisis within a crisis, avoidable with planning. This is about dignity. Don't forget the other basics. Stock up on extra toilet paper. You'd be amazed how fast that disappears from store shelves. Extra toothpaste, soap, deodorant, feminine hygiene products, anything you use daily to feel clean and human. Put it all together in a dedicated box or bag. Feeling at least a little clean can make a huge difference to mental and emotional well-being. It's a small comfort with a big impact. Now, for many of us, our family isn't just made up of people. It's made up of our furry, four-legged companions who give us so much love and joy. Our dogs, our cats, they are family. And when we're planning for an emergency, we have got to plan for them too. They depend on us for everything. Item number 10, pet supplies. You can't forget your best friend. Stockpile food for them too. Don't just guess. Figure out how much they eat per day, then have at least a 2-week supply of their regular food. Sudden diet change can cause stomach upset. Avoid that in a crisis. Store dry food in an airtight, waterproof container. Stock up on wet food cans if needed. They need water, extra bottled water for pets. They can't drink unsafe tap water any more than you can. Think about other needs. Do you have a cat? Extra cat litter, a big bag. Run out and you'll have a different kind of emergency. Have extra dog waste bags. Most importantly, have extra supplies of any pet meds. Heartworm preventative, flea and tick medicine. Any prescriptions for chronic conditions. Talk to your vet about an emergency supply. Also include vaccination records and a recent photo of them in your kit. Our pets give us comfort and reduce stress. In a tough time, you'll need them more than ever, so please take care of them. We've talked a lot about technology. We've talked about our cell phones and our power banks. But what if the worst happens? What if your phone dies and your power bank is empty? What if your phone gets dropped and breaks? What if the cell towers go down and you can't get a signal anyway? All those numbers you have stored in your contacts, they're gone. You can't call your daughter because you haven't memorized her numbers since she was a teenager. This is why item number 11 is so critically important, and it doesn't require any batteries at all. I'm talking about a written down, physical, hard copy emergency contact list. I know it sounds so simple, so old-fashioned, but in an emergency, simple and old-fashioned is exactly what works. You need a piece of paper or a small notebook with all your important phone numbers written down clearly. Who goes on this list? Everybody. Your children, your grandchildren, your siblings, your close friends, your neighbors. Don't just write their names and numbers. Write down their addresses, too. You also need the numbers for your doctors, your primary care physician, your heart doctor, your eye doctor, every specialist. Write down the number for your pharmacy, your insurance company, your local police non-emergency line, your local fire department non-emergency line. Once you have this list, don't just make one copy. Make 3 or 4. Keep one in your wallet or purse. Keep another one with your first aid kit. Keep a third one by the phone in your house. Give a copy to a trusted neighbor or a family member who lives nearby. Laminate one of the copies if you can to protect it from water. This little piece of paper is your brain's backup drive. It's the link to your support system when all the technology fails. It takes 10 minutes to make and it could save your life.